This is the WGNS Action Line, talking with Rutherford County newsmakers about what matters most to you. Now, your host, Scott Walker.
Adams Place and Executive Director Terri Deal joins us live in studio. How are you this morning?
I am great, Scott. It is a beautiful morning and ready to get the day going.
I look at myself at my age, and then I see some of the folks at Adams Place. They're a lot more active than me.
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit concerning.
It is. What's going on? How do they stay so active?
Well, I think the social factor of being there and all of the complimentary exercise classes that we provide and that sort of thing gives them a reason to get out of bed in the morning and go see their friends and get moving and just keep moving.
It's kind of like when you're in college, if you don't want to do something one day, you've got that friend who lives next door to the apartment down the street, and they're like, hey, let's go. We're going here, there,
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The beauty of living at Adams Place, if you want to get involved, there's lots to do. If you need to just hang out and be quiet, you just go back to your house and don't answer the door.
That's right. It's your door. You can decide. Kind of like your phone, and
right.
rings. I don't want to answer that. Once you hit a certain age, as a senior citizen, what are you seeing today? I mean, because it does seem like folks are more active than they used to be.
We definitely are, and I throw myself in that category because I'm officially senior citizen age, so I get to classify myself with them. But I think one of the things that we've started seeing in recent years is that people are looking at downsizing onto a retirement campus like Adams Place earlier rather than later. That's the way that it was when we opened 28 years ago. Then there was a little bit of a lull where people came in later. Now people are going back to the thought of earlier really is better because you can get there, you can age in place, you can just continue living life. All you have to do is change your address and keep doing what you want to do.
Now, what are some of the positives about doing that, about moving in at an earlier age as opposed to waiting until you're 85 or 90?
Well, one thing, as far as the independent living side of things is concerned, is the sooner you move in, the longer you're going to be able to enjoy the benefits of that lifestyle. Some of the benefits, I was talking with a couple just yesterday that still enjoys traveling, and one of the beauties of being on our campus is if you still enjoy traveling, that's great. You don't have to worry about a pipe busting while you're traveling the world, or an electrical fire or anything like that, or your mail collecting and people realizing that you're out of town, because we're going to take care of all of that. So you literally make your plans, you lock your door, you walk out, and you don't give it another thought. So that is one of the big things about moving in sooner rather than later, is you are still able to do those things.
And do you have some people who go out of town for 2 weeks at a time even?
Oh, 2, 3, 4 weeks. We've had people taking 30 and 45-day cruises around the world and going to Europe for a month, and they just travel. I had a resident a couple of years ago. He's unfortunately no longer with us, but he would spend every summer at his cabin on Lake Michigan. So that's the beauty. They can still do. I've got residents who have other homes in other locations, so they'll still go back to those homes from time to time, or go visit with friends in Florida or anything like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've got a lady that moved here from the property in Florida called The Villages, and it's a huge property down in Florida, and she moved up here, but she's still got friends down there, so she'll fly back down to Florida or drive herself back down there and spend 2 or 3 weeks at a time. So, it's all about continuing to live your life.
I'm curious, when you see older folks who are more active, it seems like a lot more active than what they used to be. What is it? Is it just they're keeping up with their life by walking every day? Is it medicine? I mean, what do you see as far as the residents?
It's probably a little bit of all of that. I feel like I probably sound like a broken record because I say this so frequently when I'm hanging out with you, but I really think that the social factor is such a huge part of how our residents age in a healthy manner, because it's really easy. I even notice myself. I get up and I'm like, I need to exercise. No, I'm not motivated to. Well, they've got a neighbor coming by knocking on their door saying, come on, it's time to go exercise, or let's let's go for a walk, or, let's go down to this event or that event. So I really think that social factor encourages them to continue getting up and getting out and doing things, and that makes a huge difference in their aging.
It definitely seems like people are a lot more active later in life than what they used to be, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you referenced in the olden days when people would go walk in the mall. Look at that group of people. They were very healthy. They were very social, because one of the reasons why they walked in the mall is so that they could interact with other people their ages.
Yeah. And they would love it. They would love to have, conversations about life and
absolutely
all that stuff.
Go grab a cup of coffee and sit down for a few minutes and then get up and go do it again.
That's right. Now, at Adams Place and places similar to Adams Place, I know you have good security there, and that's one of the things you were mentioning you don't have to worry about whenever you go out of town.
Right.
But how does that work?
The security aspect of things, like in independent living, we have staff in the building 24 hours a day. It's much reduced staff from what is anywhere else on campus. Once you get into assisted living and the healthcare center, there's nurses and caregivers in the building 24 hours a day. So they're there to step in the event that there is an emergency, either in the building itself or with one of their residents. On the independent living side, we've got one staff member there from 8 o'clock at night until about 6 or 6:30 in the morning. And he is there specifically to monitor the security cameras, to answer the doorbell, because some families come in, some residents come in 11, 12 o'clock at night, making sure that the people coming in and out of the building belong there, bringing in first responders if we have to call for help and that sort of thing.
And what if you have family coming in from out of town? Do you have a place where they can stay, or can they stay with that loved one in independent living?
Yes to both of those situations. So we have a number of residents that their families stay in their homes with them, but we also do have guest rooms that are available for friends and family to make use of.
Do they have to pay for those like a hotel?
They do, but it's a lot less expensive than a hotel. And just as nice. I compare us to Embassy Suites all the time. It's a top-notch provider of service, as everything that Adams Place does. But yeah, it's really nice because it allows the friends or the family to be able to come in and stay under their family's roof without necessarily being underfoot. So, when you think about traveling to see parents or grandparents, even in our lives, well, you might not necessarily want to stay in their house, but if you can stay right there with them and get access to them, eat meals with them, enjoy activities with them, then that's fine.
Yeah, I like it. It does make it a whole lot easier.
It does.
And then you also have different aspects of living, like let's say, for example, the wife, the husband, whichever one needs additional care as they age, they can go to another wing, another side of Adams Place.
Exactly. And that's one of the beauties, one of many, about the Adams Place campus. We have 22 acres. Everything is there on that 22 acres. So we've got independent living, assisted living, memory care, long-term care, and on-site rehab. So just as an example, we've got a resident that's in rehab, and a carload of the ladies, a group of ladies piled into a car, drove to the other end of campus, and went and visited with her for an hour or so yesterday. So it's really nice. You don't have to drive, but some of the residents choose to drive that little short distance just for their own safety. Yeah, we've got a number of situations where one spouse is living in independent living and another is elsewhere, whether it's assisted living, memory care, or long-term care.
I know we talked in the past about how you guys are adding on, and I know there's plans in place to continue building on the campus.
Yes.
What does that look like?
So what that's going to be is what is called an active aging community. It's an expansion of independent living, and it will consist of some small apartment buildings, just with 15 apartments per building, and then a group of townhomes. And this will provide a new living option for people who are ready to step out of the responsibilities of home maintenance. Probably the younger retirees, maybe in their 70s as opposed to in their 80s, which is typically what comes into independent living at this point. So stepping onto the campus a little bit earlier, not because they necessarily need the care right now that we provide, but because they are looking down the road at what they're going to possibly need, and they want to go ahead and get on our campus service, just get a foot in the door, if you will. So those residents, that group of residents, they'll be a little bit more independent, have a few less of the amenities that we currently provide in the independent living building, but they'll be there in case or when things change in their lives and they need placement in another service that we provide.
Now, will this be the first time you have actual townhomes there?
It will be, yes.
And how is that looking? Are they going to be 1-story, 2-story?
That is up for debate right now. They're currently designed both 1 and 2-story. We'll stop with that. The developers know my thoughts. I don't think that we need to have 2 stories, but hey, if we build them, I'll sell them.
I guess you get to that age where you're thinking ahead, and 2 stories just doesn't sound fun anymore once you get to a certain age.
Yeah, I'm already at that age. I'll be 61 in 2 weeks, and I'm like, I don't like that set of stairs anymore.
And in general, people are looking for houses with the bedroom on the first floor anyway.
Sure, and that we will. In all of the townhomes, the main living quarters are on the first floor. So the second level would really be for the families that come in to visit, or if I want to set up an office or something like that.
Do you have cases, or would you have cases where you have, a grandson comes and stays for a week at a time, or somewhere along those lines?
They could, and they can now. With our existing independent living, family members are more than welcome to come and stay. We usually try to limit it to a couple of weeks, because anything after that, we sort of start looking at you as a resident. So, the same type of thing will apply with the expansion.
What are some of the things that you've learned, or valuable lessons, or things you've walked away with since doing what you do?
I need to write a book one of these days. I think one of the biggest things that I witness is the people that plan ahead versus those that wait for a crisis situation. Planning ahead is always much better because you are in control. When there's a crisis situation, you put your control into someone else's hands, and you usually aren't happy with the results. So planning ahead, making decisions, like even for Adam's Place, the couple that I was speaking with yesterday, they don't have any intention of moving for 5 or 10 years. But because of our reputation, because of our history, they know it's going to be very important to get on the wait list now, so that when they are ready to make that move, we are more than likely going to have availability for them. So that probably would be the biggest aspect. I think another thing from a kid's standpoint, so all adult children that are listening out there, parents don't necessarily want what you think they want. So it's really important that we let them kind of call the shots. We may need to steer some directions, do our due diligence and look around at communities and narrow the search down. But at the end of the day, it is your parent who's going to be living there, and they may have knitted and crocheted 50 years ago, but they might not enjoy doing that right now. So that doesn't need to be the focus.
That's so true. And even in general, as people, we change our hobbies over the years. We
Absolutely.
Change interest. We just change.
Right. And a lot of times the kids don't really realize that, because they want to remember mom and dad doing certain things, and they want them to be able to continue doing those things. And that really might not be their parents' desire any longer. So give your parents the leeway to change the direction that they're going.
Dad may not enjoy sitting on the recliner doing crossword puzzles for hours on end.
Right.
There's a good chance he doesn't.
That's exactly right.
We just haven't asked him. But yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. And when you are in a community where you have new friends, and you'll be making new friends, things do change even more, because you take on other interests with those groups of people too.
Well, sure. You come in and you see people doing a certain activity and think, maybe I want to try that. We had campus-wide luau on Wednesday. From one end of campus to the other, everything was decorated up luau style. And we had some residents that came out for it that don't typically come out. And they sat there just saying, this is really a lot of fun. Maybe I'll come to the next one. So, it's just the exposure to the different things. And, instead of taking a nap this afternoon, let's go downstairs and listen to the jazz band that's coming in, or the country singer, or go to the luau, have some drinks and talk with some friends.
Kind of trace back your Polynesian roots. That's
absolutely.
Good. We got to take a short break, but this morning we're talking about Adam's Place. And the time right now, 8:34. We will be right back.
This is Peter Demas, and our family is inviting your family to come eat with us at Demas's restaurant. Right now there's this big talk of tariffs. So we start looking at where do all of our suppliers get their product from. Even though we're buying it from, and it looks like it's from an American company, but they're getting it from China. What we're trying to do is we're trying to give people the value. When the prices do go up, we have at least a cushion to work off of. Come eat with us at Demas's restaurant on Northwest Broad Street.
I am Charlotte Gardner.
Why do you love Adam's Place?
Gee, there are so many things, but I guess the choices. You can be as lazy as you want to be. You can be as active as you want to be. The residents are friendly. The staff is wonderful. You don't need to be concerned at all. It's up to you.
Hi, this is Terri Deal at Adam's Place. Call me for more information about Adam's Place. Phone 615-904-9111.
Adam's Place on Memorial, across from Walmart.
Terri Deal is in studio with us today, the executive director of Adam's Place in Murfreesboro. And for those who may be new to the area, how would you describe Adam's Place?
Adam's Place is a 28-year-old continuing care retirement community. We are part of National Healthcare Corporation. We offer independent living, assisted living, memory care, and health care center, which consists of both long-term care and inpatient rehab. I like to call, especially the independent living portion of our campus, I like to call it my landlocked cruise ship, because we do anything and everything that we can from one end of campus to the other to keep our residents engaged at a variety of different levels, offering programming that is going to reach the majority of them so that everybody has a choice of things to do.
Have you seen these new cruise ships? They're not new, I guess, but you literally live on the cruise ship.
I have seen that, and I've wondered if it's not necessarily a bad idea.
I've wondered that too, until I think back at the whole COVID period where one ship lost power out in the middle of the Gulf. I start thinking that wouldn't be fun to lose power and to be stuck on that thing out there.
No, and I don't know that I would want to be out there during hurricanes and that sort of thing. So, I might need to pick a cruise ship that goes somewhere else. Maybe I don't, in the middle of the United States.
I wonder if there's a hurricane coming. Do they move elsewhere? Are we going to change plans here? But I read somewhere one of them's like it's part of Ritz-Carlton or something like that.
Okay, well, I'll bet that is a class act.
Probably so, but I can't imagine the price.
No.
I mean, to live on the cruise ship year-round, that's got to be expensive.
It would be pretty cool, though, to be able to travel the world.
That would be.
I think I read once that there is a cruise ship that does a slow path around the world for seniors, and it takes a year and a half or 2 years or something, and they stop everywhere. So that really would be an incredible way to be able to see the world.
It would be. Man, 2.5 years though.
Yeah, that's a long time at sea. I don't know. I did a cruise last year and I had to have acupuncture to get me through the seasickness. So I don't know if I could do 2.5 years.
Yeah, I like the idea of Adam's Place as your cruise ship that's on land.
Yes.
A little easier to...
Yeah. You don't have to take the Dramamine or anything like that.
Probably not as expensive either as being out there at sea. So
not nearly as expensive.
Good idea. But you could take a cruise while living at Adam's Place.
Of course. We have people do it all of the time.
I bet. Cruises are popular, aren't they?
They are.
Do y'all ever do, or have you thought about doing group trips of some kind?
That's something that we have talked about off and on. Up until now, we have not. Let's just say it is conversation on the table. I would love for us to do at least an overnight trip, maybe a weekend trip. I don't know that we could ever do anything any longer than that, but I think it is good, because my residents do still like to travel.
And speaking of travel, you guys do go to certain places, plan field trips of sorts.
Sure. Cumberland County Playhouse to watch the performance of Sweeney Todd. We go out to eat. We go to the mall. We went a few weeks ago to Bell Buckle, and I think we're planning a trip maybe this fall to the Loveless Cafe. So, yeah, we're constantly going.
How do you go about planning and deciding where to go?
A lot of it is resident request. Our residents know that they can come and talk to our life enrichment director, Patty Purdy, and talk to her, tell her the things that they're interested in doing. She actually has formed kind of partnerships with different residents and given them the marching orders for find the plays that you want us to go to this year. We've got one lady that picks out the movies that we watch every weekend. We've got another that really helps out with activities. So it's really a lot about engagement with the residents and being open to hearing what it is that they want to do, because we can plan programming all day, but if it's not what they're interested in, then it's going to fall flat. So we want to bring in the activities that they want to do.
So for that age group, are there certain activities that you're seeing that they do on a regular basis that they enjoy more so than others?
Different groups, yes. We've got one group of residents that they would play bridge 23 hours out of 24, 7 days a week if they could get away with it. We've got others that they thrive on all of the exercise programs. We've got some residents that come down for just the entertainment. Then we've got the residents that if it's happening, they're there. One of the things that has been kind of funny lately is because of all of the programming that we have, we're having some things overlap. And the residents are like, well, I want to do both. So how can I do both? And I said, well, you have to pick. You just got to choose one of them.
Yeah, that's right.
So we do offer a lot of different programming. And again, that goes campus wide, not just in independent living.
Now, there's also a lot to do there on the campus. I mean, you're one of the very few, only one that I know of in this area that has a swimming pool.
We are the only one in Rutherford County with a swimming pool. That is correct.
That's pretty cool.
It is, as long as it's not broken. When it breaks, it's kind of a pain, but more often than not, it's working just fine. And the residents love it. And I've got some residents that chose Adams Place specifically so that they would be able to swim. That's perfectly fine, because then they come in and they get involved in all the other activities as well.
I don't know what it is with pools and pools being broken, but when you're a homeowner and have a pool, it does seem like there's always a problem with it.
There is always a problem. Ours is an indoor pool, so you would think it would be a whole lot easier to maintain. I'm here to tell you, no, that is not the case. But it is well worth it when it's working. The residents absolutely love it. And we bring in geriatric certified instructors to teach wellness programs, including water aerobics. So we know they're getting the benefit from it that they need.
Now, can they just go in there and leisurely swim if they want to?
Of course they can. And I've got a lot of them that do.
I can imagine, because it is relaxing just being in the pool itself.
Yes, it is.
And it's probably fairly warm. I don't know about the pool temperature itself, but the room it's in is probably fairly warm.
Everything about it is warm. We keep the water at 86 degrees. When I first started working there several years ago, they kept it at 94. I was like, folks, that's not even healthy. We're turning it back just a little bit. So, we keep it at 86 degrees. And we do that because it really does help loosen our joints. And for anybody with arthritis or any other type of joint issues, it really does help relax and allow you to do exercise that you might not be able to do in any other way.
Can't believe it used to be around 94 degrees, and that's warm for a pool.
That was toasty.
I mean, if it's close to your body temperature, it's like, whoa, this doesn't even feel good anymore.
Yeah, we're just stewing at that point.
That's right. So that's good you did that. So anyway, food is something you get a lot of compliments on.
We do. The running joke is when somebody moves in, I tell every new resident, bring your stretchy pants. And sure enough, about 6 months later, they come to me telling me they've gained weight. Food is such a big deal. All of us enjoy a good meal, especially if we aren't the ones having to prepare it and clean up after it. So we really do go over the top, not only in our dining rooms, but even in our activities. So, I was telling somebody the other day, if we can come up with an excuse to have a party, we're going to have the party, and in that party is going to be some food. So there's plenty of opportunities to eat, and it's always delicious.
There's so many aspects about Adams Place and senior living that remind me it is like college in a lot of ways. Like that freshman 10 that you gain. That's true there too, it sounds like.
Absolutely. I call it my Adam's Place 20. I mean, it is what it is.
You increased it. That's good.
I have
That's
increased it.
But, when you're not used to cooking every night anyway, then all of a sudden you have meals prepared for you every day. That makes a huge difference in your life and how you feel too.
It does. When you're eating popcorn at night as opposed to coming in and eating a 3-course meal that's nutritionally balanced, you're going to feel better. You're going to be more involved, but you are going to gain weight. I've got a resident that she and her husband have been with us maybe 6 months or so, and she told me just the other day, she said, Terry, I have never in my life been able to gain weight until I moved here. And that was a very good thing for her because she needed to gain some. So, it is a good thing.
I think we forget sometimes when we're just going about life and living how important things like sleep and nutrition really are for us.
Yeah, it's both of those are vital to the way we age.
And it's interesting because you point out how people, they feel good when they're at Adam's Place. And I'm sure that's one of the big reasons right there.
Yeah. Well, they're there, they're getting nutritional meals, they're exercising, they're engaged, they're visiting with their friends and their neighbors, which makes them more tired at night so that they are able to sleep better.
All those things going together, I mean, plus that side of that involvement, like you pointed out several times, that involvement is huge. And when you're talking to other people, it's a form of therapy, whether you realize it or not.
It is. Everybody likes to talk. Everybody likes to be heard. And it is very beneficial.
Do you have a lot of seniors who move there, but they maybe lost their husband, lost their wife, and they moved there single to one of the independent living apartments there?
Yeah, really, the majority of our residents are singles. We've got maybe a quarter of the residents that are married. Many of them are single because they moved onto campus with their spouse and their spouse has since passed away. But a lot of people do move in after the loss of a loved one.
I'm curious. Do you ever see like a love story start there?
Oh, yes. More often than you would think.
That's kind of cool, though.
It is. It's really good for all parties involved. So, yeah, the kids usually encourage it. The parents enjoy it. It just gives them somebody special in their last years.
Do you have those cases where they go on to get married, or you have those cases where they just continue to date, keeping their own separate housing units, if you would?
We actually have both. There's a couple in assisted living who I think it was earlier in August they got married. It was either earlier in August or it's about to happen. They met after both of them moved in. They fell in love and they decided to get married. In independent living, we've definitely had several situations where we've got dating relationships going on, and it really is fun to watch.
It's cool. And again, it goes back to the college days or high school. And I don't know why I keep comparing it to that, but I just keep picturing, that interaction with folks. It makes a huge difference in how you live your life.
It really does. I've got one daughter that just graduated from college and another one that's still in college, and I get to watch the way they interact, especially when they lived in college dorms. And I think there are a lot of similarities. And, the beauty of being on the Adams Place campus, or just in retirement years in general, is you don't have all of the day-to-day responsibilities that you and I currently have. And so we're able to focus on those things again. And a lot like in college, they've got a lot of responsibilities, but they've also got a lot of free time on their hands. So they're able to form those relationships and have the fun that goes along with it.
Do you have some people who still have a job? They still work in some capacity?
Yes, we do. Yeah, several in both independent and assisted living.
Interesting. Yeah. Are they going into an office every day? Are they working from home?
Not necessarily. I think most of them work from home. We've got several different residents in independent living who are authors, and they're constantly working on new books. So they're able to do their research from home. But yeah, we have got residents that do still work. And as I talk to younger and younger people that are looking at moving onto campus, one of the conversations is, can I still work? And the answer is, of course you can.
Yeah.
It's your life.
I'm wondering what's going to happen years from now, because I look at certain age groups and those who are in their 30s and some in their 40s. You've got a lot of them to where they do stuff like play video games for entertainment.
Sure.
Are we going to see that kind of be incorporated into places like Adams Place one day?
I think we'll have to over time. I really do. I mean, even, today we're becoming more technologically savvy. We've got a program that we use primarily in independent living for our residents to interact with, and about 48% of my residents use it. The other 52 never will. They don't have any desire. But as newer, younger residents do move in, they will be adapting that technology, and it just makes a difference in how they're able to engage with the community.
That's interesting. And it's interesting how you guys have to constantly evolve. I mean, you have to constantly make changes as those around you make changes.
Yeah, we do. We've got to stay up. I mean, everything that's going on in independent, or not even independent living, but across our campus, it's the same stuff that's going on in the community. And we do have to stay on top of all of it. We've got to look at how systems operate for the dining room, for taking orders, and, how we engage with the residents, how we're able to communicate with them, or even with the family members in a quick and convenient fashion. So we have to embrace the technology that's out there.
Things like texting. Do y'all text the residents, or vice versa? They text you with stuff?
We do, to an extent. So the programming that we use for independent living, it's a program called Life Loop, and it does allow a texting format. So, my personal cell phone number is not anything that my residents typically have, but by using this Life Loop program, they are able to text me directly, and I can respond to them just as if you and I were sitting here having a texting conversation.
Interesting. And what would you say to somebody who is out there and thinking about the idea of maybe selling their house and moving somewhere like Adams Place?
I would encourage them to come and have a visit. Come see what we have to offer. Let's see if you want to call Adams Place home. That doesn't mean that you want to call us home today, but it means, do you want to call us home at some point in your future? If you do, then we need to start talking about getting you on the wait list so that we are ready when you are ready. Just come visit.
Are there some insurance programs that help pay for things like Adams Place?
Yes and no. So anybody who has long-term care policies, those policies generally pay for assisted living and long-term care. There are, depending on how the policy is written, there are some policies that do cover in-home care that you can bring into your independent living home. So really, those residents that have those policies, we just need to work with them to do what's called a verification of benefits call to see what all they do have available.
And if you are in that side of living where, it's basically your own apartment of sorts, are you getting a tax write-off like you would if you owned a house, or what happens at the end of the year?
Not really getting a tax write-off. So with independent living, you do have financial choices coming in. You can either be a rental resident or what we call an investment resident. Investment residents, the government does give them or allow them a medical deduction on taxes if they're still itemizing. So that is a piece of it that I'm always going over with folks if they're looking at that investment side of things.
There's so many things to learn about all of this. So, I mean, it does make sense to come in, have a seat, and just actually talk it through.
Absolutely. Just ask the hard questions. I like for my guests to be able to have lunch or dinner with residents, with some of our ambassadors, to ask them the hard questions about what life is like there. But you really cannot make an informed decision if you don't have the information. So just come get the information. Adams Place is not going to be the choice for everyone, but it is going to be the right choice for a lot of people.
How long does it take to actually get moved in? I mean, if a resident says, this is me, I want to do this.
Yep. It depends on the apartment style that they're looking for. We've got wait lists anywhere from 6 months to 3 years. So again, we've got to get you in the door, sit down, look at the space that you're interested in. Then I can talk to you specifically specifically about the weight for that particular size apartment.
And how big are some of those units?
We've got in independent living, we have apartments ranging from 700 to 1,500 square feet.
Sounds good. So, I mean, 1,500 square, that's a pretty good size
That's
place.
a nice size house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to worry about the roof. You don't have to worry about electrical wiring. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
That's the best part right there.
That is a beauty of it.
And no yard to mow. That's even better.
No yard. If you want to keep your hands in the dirt, we've got some flowers you can tend to, but for the most part, the landscaping company is taking care of everything.
You don't even have to cook.
Don't even have to cook. You can if you want to, because you've got a kitchen.
That's true.
Don't have to.
But now, if you have a kitchen, do you automatically get those meals included, or do you decide ahead of time, well, I want to do the dinner, but I don't want to do the lunches?
Meals, one meal a day is included in independent living. Everywhere else on campus is 3 meals a day. So in independent living, we do have full kitchens in the independent living apartments. We provide all of the major appliances. So we do have residents that are still cooking. We've got some that use their kitchens just to do baked goods, which is nice because then they share them with the staff. So it just depends on really what your interests are. A lot of times people will come in with good intentions of cooking, but then they realize the food is so good and it's so much more convenient. It's like, I don't need to cook today. So we'll just go down to the dining room.
And it's healthy.
Yeah, it is.
And so is lunch the most popular, or is it dinner?
Nope. Right now, dinner is the most popular.
And it changes, huh?
It does. For a while, it has been predominantly dinner, but right now, I would say probably about 80% of our residents choose dinner over lunch.
Interesting. Okay. Well, and if anybody wants to learn more, they can stop by Adam's Place, give you a call. What should they do?
They can certainly stop by anytime they want to. They can give us a call at 615-904-9111 and be directed. Just ask for either the independent living, the assisted living, or the healthcare center. They can get on our social media platforms and kind of follow us that way. They can check out our website at adamsplace.org.
Terri Deal with us this morning, Executive Director of Adam's Place.
News Radio WGNS.
Are you tired of constantly spending money on sprays and other things to control mosquitoes around your home? If so, come by Holden Hardware and get the Spartan Mosquito Eradicators. When used properly, the Spartan Mosquito Eradicators will kill mosquitoes. Come by Holden Hardware on the Square and get the Spartan Mosquito Eradicators.
These spotty showers and thunderstorms
this year, make mosquito control easier and cheaper. Come by Holden Hardware on the Square and get the Spartan Mosquito Eradicators.